It's a beautiful day outside today, Jackie.
Yes, it is, and I just took a high quality meta photo of us just because I can.
Ooh, she's got her meta glasses on, but you are back with the Click Clack Show. This is Lauren Duletsky.
And I am Jackie G, here to talk all things women's sports.
So, Jack, we are in the middle of the Olympics. We are weeks away from March Madness. We just saw the most epic halftime show in Super Bowl history, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
What a time to be alive in sports.
I don't know where to start based on all of that, but I will just start with Bad Bunny because it's so fresh and I think we should just talk about it because I personally love the show too. I'm glad you feel the same. I felt like there were so many cultural moments in his performance that a lot of people didn't even understand or know because they're not a part of that culture. And I was fortunate enough to know a lot of Puerto Ricans and asked a ton of questions. And there was just so much intention behind every scene and everything that was there and that he did. And I thought that was so amazing. And I kind of went down a deep rabbit hole and just was reading a lot of different stuff. And I think just how everything tied together was beautiful. It was such a big moment for the Puerto Rican culture and just like the Latino Hispanic culture in general. And the unity at the end of just bringing all the flags together and just love is stronger than hate. And, everything that just wrapped it all together with a pretty bow on top was just so awesome. And I was so pumped for that moment and for the Latino, community. And it was just amazing.
I felt like I was in a short film, something so cinematically beautiful, so artful. It just captivated me. I mean, I think we rewinded it 5 times and watched. And then one of the big questions we had was that a real couple that got married? I think sources said it is a real couple that he's friends with. Could you imagine? You're like, oh yeah, I got married at the Bad Bunny Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine at all.
But it was just so beautiful. We needed this show more than anything as a society. I mean, this is happening at the same time where Olympic athletes are, on the world stage representing Team USA in a very divisive time for our country. It just gave me so much hope and it taught me so much. To your point, getting to be inspired and learn more about the Puerto Rican culture and to go down these rabbit holes of what did this mean? What did that mean? And just be more educated because we're so uneducated about so many things that aren't like our everyday lives. And I thought he just did an exceptional job. And I think it's a halftime show we're going to be talking about for years to come.
Yeah, he nailed it. It was better than the actual game, which isn't saying a lot because the game was not great.
It was so boring. I was
Yeah,
like,
I
I
mean,
mean, I'm
shout out to the
stoked.
defense. The defense was super fun and entertaining, but just, yeah, the game itself was, Bad Bunny definitely outshined the game for sure.
I mean, that's the only reason we wanted to go to the Super Bowl was to see Bad Bunny.
That is a fact.
Sadly, we did not see Jackie streak across the field, but
No, I know, and also I didn't make it inside the stadium. I'm really upset about that, but that is okay. There's always next year. I know next year is gonna be in LA, so figure out LA
we'll figure
2027.
we'll figure it out. We're definitely gonna go to a Super Bowl together, no doubt in my head. And I don't want to belabor this topic, but I was fortunate enough to be in San Francisco in the heart of it all pre-Super Bowl. And I want to give a major shout out to a couple of teams, Stereo Creative. So they brought us there to represent the female fan and to really talk about the fan gap and why the female fan especially has such a big opportunity in sports and all brands to be paying attention to that. So I was really honored to speak on behalf of our brand and to really talk about why women's sports is on the rise, why every single brand needs to be buying in now because the price in 5 years from now is going to be 10x. And you realize when you get out of your women's sports bubble and you're kind of more in like sports as a whole, just how much opportunity there still is to educate around it. And it just like it was so inclusive. I felt like I belonged there and they made me feel so included. I got the great honor of being alongside Stephanie Rogers, who is the head of marketing for the 49ers. She did an amazing job really kind of illuminating what the 49ers alone are doing to really expand their fan base and particularly for the female fan. So I was just so inspired and it made me fall in love with sports in a way that I hadn't before, like where I got to be more on like the industry side. not just at a major company like Nike, but getting to be in the heartbeat of like where the games are happening, the marketing, the energy was incredible. Shout out to Adweek for putting on an exceptional experience throughout the week.
I think it's definitely a topic we should discuss because you were on your first panel representing Click Clack, also representing a women's sports voice. And that is not something to take lightly because you just entered into this arena a little bit over a year ago and you're making so much noise in the women's sports world and you're making a name for yourself. And I think that that is such a huge accomplishment and something that you should really pat yourself on the back for because this is one of many that is coming for you. Whether that's from the Click Clack lens, whether that's from the Lauren Duletsky lens, like I'm really proud of you. And I know the weekend was super amazing and impactful and helped, your confidence a lot too.
Thanks for saying that, Jack. And like I said, getting on the mic with you every week, getting to live in this world with you has given me the confidence to get up there and do it. I'll end by saying I'm headed towards 40 and your girl stayed out till 1 a.m. 2 nights in a row. I got free tickets to see Benson Boone and Shabuzi, which blew my freaking mind. Being in the epicenter of it, it was like everybody just wanted to help you. Everybody wanted to give you an experience and make you feel the energy of the week. And just highly recommend for anybody in the industry.
You are just like a ray of sunshine coming into these events, and it's beautiful.
I love it. Okay, but we can't move on without talking about commercials. Do you have a favorite Super Bowl commercial that you must talk about?
Oh my god, like a dum-dum, I hella wasn't paying attention to any of the commercials while I was watching the game. I was really locked into the game because I wanted to watch and see like, all right, let me sit here and watch a whole football game. So I was like taking breaks during the commercials, which is like very opposite. And honestly, my anticipation was for the halftime show, so I was just like, let me get to this damn halftime show. I saw a lot of commercials circulating like on Instagram and stuff, but
Mhm.
like didn't really pay that close enough attention. So tell me yours.
So going back to the week, I had the great honor of sitting in Adweek's, one of their big panel events with some of the CMOs from PepsiCo, Liquid IV, Mars Candy. It was incredible to hear kind of how at the billion-dollar level of these brands are spending on Super Bowl marketing because I think the lowest ad buy-in right now to a Super Bowl commercial is probably around 6 million. It is wild to
Eh,
spend. But so like, and these brands can't just spend on TV. They have to think about omni-channel campaigns, right? Don't get me geeking out on this. But I have to say the commercial that absolutely shook me in the best way was ELF's commercial with Melissa McCarthy. And she's literally driving down. She's like, I don't know how to speak Spanish. And they put her in a telenovela. Like, I'm telling you,
Okay, I did see this.
it was
Yeah.
genius. And then here was the even more genius part is I put it in my stories and was like, ELF wins the Super Bowl. And ELF within minutes responded to me on social.
No
Like
way.
that level of engagement is, especially for a brand that big, blew my socks off, especially coming from the marketing world. I know what it takes to run a social team and to get them to like respond. I mean, you think about the thousands of responses that are coming in about this commercial.
Right.
It was blew me away. So ELF, major Gen Z clap for you.
I'm here for it. I love that.
I think it's so important for brands to just continually remember as they're developing these commercials that you have got to be more thoughtful about who's on the couch watching. In the moment, like a Super Bowl, yes, but these commercials also have legs beyond Super Bowl. They're so expensive to produce. You have to figure out how do you live on beyond. And I think Xfinity did a really beautiful job at that. They had this commercial. I don't know if it actually aired at the Super Bowl, but I know a friend told me it aired during Unrivaled. And it was this little girl watching Ilya, who's, on the men's team for figure skating in the Olympics. And this little girl goes up into her basement, puts on a tutu, and her whole world is transformed. She's learning all these moves. Her teddy bears, her animals are coming to life. It's so beautiful. And my friend told me that at the moment she was watching on the couch with her daughter immediately went upstairs, got her tutu on, came back down, and was like, Mommy, I want to learn all the moves. The
Oh, that's
connection
cute.
of that is something you cannot replicate. Like, it is a beautiful, authentic, real connection that brand made with her. Xfinity, freaking, what is Xfinity? Wireless, like, energy,
Internet.
power, but, like, building that human connection and that emotion is so real, and that's also the power of sport.
Mhm.
because it made her feel included. It made her feel like I can too. So I just had to shout that out because I thought that was a really cool story.
Yeah, no, it's a great call out, and it's so important that the role models that these young kids are watching are leading by example. And, you see so many players now that are highlighted and their stories are highlighted and they have a platform, they have a voice, and it's being exposed. So I think it's also a reminder to the amazing athletes, like how much impact that they have on young kids. And to make sure that you're showing up for yourself and for the younger generation in the right way, because they're all watching and they're all holding on to everything that you're doing and saying and how you're dressing and how you're treating people and how you're acting. So it's a really important reminder of that, I think, too.
I'll end on the commercial front by saying there were so many GOP1 commercials. It was wild. I was like, we get it.
I feel like that's
People,
all I see now.
it's like, we get it. You have a lot of money. You can spend a lot of money on Super Bowl and tell everybody to take GOP1 to lose weight. Like, GOP1 is an incredible breakthrough as far as, weight loss. And there's so many people on it. But then comes Dove to juxtapose that, where it wasn't about the message of like losing weight and feeling great, which brought me so back to the 90s when it was like diet pills. It was Dove was
I love a Dove bar of soap. Let me
oh,
just say, I don't feel clean without my Dove bar. Period.
by the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Dove, but Dove coming out with their body confidence campaign, I still give them massive flowers
Yeah,
because they have
amazing.
always led with like this is what body you were given. Let's celebrate that body, and they do it through such an authentic way. So I just had to call that out because it was such a juxtaposition with like the weight
Totally.
loss of it all, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, no, shout out to Dove. I know we touched on these athletes being role models for this younger generation, and I think it's a perfect way to segue into youth sports because I know this is a topic that you and I have talked about a lot. It's something that we're deeply passionate about. It's something that we, lead by example with through our Hooper camps and through the things that we do and what we stand for. Um, and I was able to go to the Bay Area and be like a replacement coach for a young youth team, and it was a young girls basketball team. And it was so much fun. I had such a good time. I had no expectation that I was going to go in there and actually coach the game. But I kind of got thrown into it, and it was just a young group of girls around 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, and the experience was incredible. And I think the impact that I made on these young kids is going to go a long way. And that's not just me, that's every coach that was in that gym that was volunteering, because at that level, it's more volunteer coaches versus actual coaches that are aspiring to be a coach, right? And just like the selflessness that all of the parents and the volunteer coaches were willing to do for these young kids and put in so much time and energy um, and intention into each one was just a really beautiful thing to see. And I go back on when I was younger, and if I would have had a me that was coaching me, I can't imagine how that would have made me feel. Just like the leader by example, the person that's the star that's been through it, right? And you played at the highest levels, and that is just like something to really take away as a young kid. And my little niece Emma, I know she was so excited and so proud that she had me there to help her and her little teammates, and it was just such a great experience. And I know you as a mom, I'm sure you can speak to it from like what that would mean for your child and for Nolan and for Haley.
Any interaction with an athlete and someone that can talk about their sport so authentically the way you do and how much you commit to youth sports is incredible to me. One of my favorite things that we do is our Hooper camp, and it's a lot of work, and it's 100 kids this time around, which is so exciting. But honestly, I would do it for 5 kids with you because the impact we can have on those kids at like really the one-to-one level is there's nothing like that. And my kids constantly talk about Auntie Jackie and basketball, and you gave them the confidence to talk about that and to feel part of it even though they barely play yet because they're so little. And so I think just the more we can be talking about sports in a way that our kids can feel included, accepted, motivated, inspired, Like, you really are such a poster child athlete for that, and I'm super proud of you that you took the time and invested because you were only home for, like, 2 days, and you always make it an effort to talk to kids in sports, and that is what makes you such a powerful person.
I mean, it goes back to a video that we posted on our social channel where, we saw a coach, a high school coach, pull one of his players' hair, which is just, like, crossing such a massive boundary, um, and it made me really dive deep into what I did this past weekend and just, like, youth in sports and, like, how important that moment is for them in that time period in their lives. I can't imagine my child's hair getting pulled by their coach, um, and no wonder kids are fearful, right? And no wonder kids drop out of sports is because, like, if that is the direction that we're going and that is, like, what people are willing to do, it doesn't make sense to me, and, like, there has to be so many regulations on stuff like that because that is so unacceptable, and it creates such an unsafe space. Imagine how many people saw that video, how many young kids saw that video, and they're probably like, I don't wanna put myself in that position. Who knows?" So it was just really yucky to see, yeah. So, what's your take?
It was horrifying. I can't even imagine how that girl was feeling. Her friend who got up and stood up for her, her teammate, shows the power of when women stick together and we support each other. I was very proud to see that part of it in such
Yeah,
a horrifying situation. We do know that coach has been fired. Like, he got in massive trouble for that. And that's a really extreme case that was very publicized and it was very wrong. We know from horror stories across, your experiences, other people's experiences, bad coaching is it's permeated a lot of places and spaces. It's still a big issue. And I think that, you had a great quote that said, coaches can be really tough. Like, coaches should be tough. They should push you. But
mhm,
there's a line, there's a boundary. And so many coaches cross that boundary agnostic of gender, right? We don't
for
wanna just
sure.
call out male coaches. There aren't as many female coaches, and I think there is an opportunity for women to play a deeper role in coaching, even if you're not an expert in the youth levels, because you can still add so much value. It's actually empowered me to think about becoming a coach at
For
the youth
sure.
level. And part of me was like, "Oh, I don't know the game. I won't teach them right." But then I was like, "Wait a minute. I taught myself how to launch a podcast. I taught myself women's basketball. I've taught myself all of these things and I can do this, and I can
Absolutely.
figure it out. So I think my biggest takeaway from that was we all need to acknowledge that this is still a really big issue.
For
And it's super important for us to be talking to our kids, watching what the coaches are doing. Obviously not impeding the coach's coaching ability, like let the coaches coach, but if something feels like it's crossing a line, you have to say something.
Yeah, and at the youth level, it's not about the technicalities or the X's and O's or the fundamentals of basketball. It is about having fun, and it's about falling in love with the game and falling in love with your teammates and what team sports does for you. So I would encourage you and other moms, even if they don't know basketball, to step in and take on that role because it's so impactful, especially for girls, to have women leaders, women coaches to help them through it. There is definitely a place for coaches to instill some level of fear in players because that's what makes players great, in my opinion. But there's definitely a boundary that cannot be crossed. And once it gets, physical, which sounds insane, that is like absolutely crossing a boundary and not okay. But I do think that tough coaching and all of that is definitely still something that I truly believe in.
You've lived this from every level of sport until you were 30 years old, and I think that there's so much more to learn in this zone, and also just with how prolific social media is in our lives and the opportunity to storytell and empower, like, we have got to be coaches have got to be thinking about that, right? Like,
For
how
sure.
do we help these kids feel confidence to show up both on the court, but also importantly, as we always talk about, off the court? So Yeah, that video really shook me. We did share it on our social medias, and if you can handle it, watch it because it's really disturbing, but I also think it's really important because it's a good shock factor to be like, "Holy shit, this is, like, still a big issue."
Yeah, like, let's get some good coaches in the youth space.
Yeah. Speaking of good coaches, Jack, so I think we should spend a lot of the rest of this episode talking about the Olympics because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we are in like the heaviest moment of sports. There was a stat that was like NBC has the Olympics, the Super Bowl, and then I want to say March Madness or some other huge event that's coming up. And I'm like, damn, those people must not be sleeping right now.
I am so game, and you're really gonna lead this conversation because I really have just paid attention to one specific moment, and that's Lindsay Vonn. I wanna hear your takes.
Let me just talk about 3 of my favorite moments so far because there's been so many. Erin Jackson as the Team USA's flag bearer, I thought was just such an emotional, incredible moment. All of her teammates behind her supporting her, really hoping for her to get gold this time around in speed skating. She got gold at the last Olympics. That was an incredible moment. I just got to watch Layla Edwards score a goal, her first Olympic goal, against Canada. Watching women's hockey right now, Team USA is absolutely killing it. Hillary Knight is like, breaking records. If you are not watching women's hockey right now, you must because it's so exciting. And then I loved watching figure skating. I'm such a big ice dance fan and figure skating fan. Obviously, I've been following Amber Glenn's story really deeply as we head into the Olympics. You know, she went onto a press conference before she competed in free skate and talked about what's going on in America right now.
Mhm.
And she ended up having to post on her story that she was getting so much hate that she was gonna take some time away from social media, which really horrified me and made me so sad because she so bravely used her platform, as so many other athletes have, in this moment where they shouldn't even have to address this. They should be thinking about their performance, but they are being so brave and speaking out and using this moment, which we hoped they would.
Say, like, what a brave woman to do that, and it's so sad and unfortunate that, like, she feels like she has to take a hiatus because of all the hate for speaking up for what she believes in. Again, one too many times have we seen this, and that's just really sad, and, I feel for her.
She's an openly queer athlete. She represents such an important community in sports and is so active and vocal about inclusion. She really inspires me. She's one of my favorite people to watch in the Olympics. The Team USA figure skating got gold this weekend, which was so exciting.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's been a really exciting Olympics. I think I only watched the Olympics and the Super Bowl this weekend, so it was a
look at
heavy week of
you.
sports, but those were my favorite moments. It was really beautiful so far, but there's so many others.
I'm definitely gonna start tuning in to more of the women's ice hockey. I definitely would love to unpack the Lindsey Vonn story. Um, I really felt so bad for her, and at the same time, I kept telling myself, "This woman is so fearless and a little bit crazy at the same time," and I'm like, I'm sure that's exactly how people thought how they felt about me too." Um, I don't even understand how it's physically or emotionally possible to tear your ACL and then go out on the slopes and perform, like, for a gold like, for a medal in the Olympics. Like, I don't even know how she did that. It doesn't compute in my brain or my body of how that was even possible. But it's more of, like, the fearlessness behind that because, like, physically, I'm sure she didn't feel good. There's no way she could because I couldn't even walk, let alone play a basketball game. No way. Um, but it's just, like, the level of fearlessness, confidence, and just, like, determination that she led with is one of the most incredible things I have ever witnessed. And then, having to watch the heartbreak of her getting, airlifted off the slope for falling and breaking her leg. She broke her leg, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for falling and breaking her leg was obviously just tore me apart. My dad actually sent me an article that stated her dad stated that he hopes that his daughter stops playing because he doesn't want to see her go through this anymore. And I think that really struck a chord for my dad because he felt that so many times too. And for the first time, like, I looked at that and I was like, "Yeah, like, I get it, dad. Like, I understand how you felt." But wow, her story is gonna live on literally forever, and she's going to be such a big role model for other people going through injury and just the resiliency and the perseverance.
I really wanted to hear your perspective first as someone who has suffered from so many knee injuries, especially which is the same injury that she is suffering from. And as someone who, I mean, I had a tiny meniscus tear in a snowboarding accident actually, but aside from that, I've never had a major knee injury. I truly believe her story is legendary. I hope that they make documentaries about it. I hope they make movies about it. What she has accomplished at her age is incredible. There was a narrative online that she should have let younger skiers come into the competition, but everyone's like, "Excuse me, if you know anything about the Olympics, you know that you have to qualify to be
Right.
in a competition." She qualified. She is still one of the best in the world. She was the oldest woman to ever go into whatever, this sort of 5th Olympics, downhill skiing. Her courage is goes so far beyond sport, and I would highly recommend everybody go read her recent post where she talks about courage, belief in yourself, resilience in the face of adversity, all the things that we talk about in sports at every level. And I genuinely believe every athlete, every person that is fighting something difficult should have that caption in her social media post on their computer, on their phone as a reminder. It was so inspirational. We reposted it on our story, and I think that she's a legend. And we all know that the Olympics aren't just about winning or gold medals. It's a big part of it, but it's about the stories. It's about perseverance. It's about belief in yourself, something bigger than you. And she embodies that at every level. So once again, this account is also a Lindsay Vonn stan account.
We
So
sure
all
are.
right, maybe we said that at the beginning of the episode. We're a stan account for a lot of female athletes, but Lindsay is one of them. And we're just really, really proud of you, Lindsay. We will be
Shout out to
following you
Lindsay
forever.
Vonn, sending you all the hearts and love and everything your way.
Jack, I think we should also get back to our roots and our one true love, women's basketball.
Oh my
So
god,
give us
say less.
yeah, give us a little takedown. What is going on in women's basketball right now that we have to know about?
Well, I mean, the SEC is still dominating. One team in the ACC sticks out to me, Duke women's basketball. They are absolutely killing it, crushing the ACC. NC State was 14-0, I believe, until Duke beat them recently. So, shout out to Kara Lawson. She is absolutely crushing it as a coach there at Duke. And then honestly, just like all your top teams are still thriving, they're still playing at a high level. On like it's going to be such a great Final Four. Like there's so many good teams and I'm just so excited to get to Phoenix for the Final Four in April. A lot of these teams are peaking at the right moment and they're going to shine at the right moment, but like you could literally lose on any given night because there's so much parity across these teams now, and it's so fun to see. Um, and I know everyone's gonna have their favorites, but, like, shoot, there's some scary teams out there, like, I wouldn't underestimate anybody at this point.
Who's someone that people aren't really watching as closely right now that we should be?
I mean, it's tough, like, I think Vanderbilt has something, you know they got something for sure. They're coming in with a chip, they have an edge to 'em. Ole Miss is really good. You know, they can sneak up on some teams and steal a win. LSU is starting to play a lot better. Historically, they've always been, considered one of the top teams. They've had a tough year this year, but
Mm.
they're starting to gel and they're starting to play really well. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of good teams. I mean, of course, you've got your Connecticut that's balling, South Carolina, Texas, UCLA, all of them, but I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be a very interesting March Madness.
So basically, you're saying it's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, it's anybody's game. Like any top team can lose to another really good team.
I'm so here for that. I honestly think that's what makes sports so fun. If we know who's gonna win already, that's not fun.
No, that's not fun at all. Like
I mean, it's
there's no sure national champion this year. Like No one's safe.
Ooh, love that. Also, we can't not move on without talking about Unrivaled for 1 second. I loved the reactions to the one-on-ones. Kate Martin's reaction
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
she's going up against Paige, right? And I was like, that was hella funny.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch the one-on-one tournament. That's gonna be hella entertaining and so much fun. Like, let's talk about who could win that. And I think for me, it's gonna be a sleeper. It's not gonna be your typical, Stewie or one of the top players. I think someone's gonna steal it that you don't expect to. Someone that's got length, someone that has versatility, someone that can, um, you know, play against a smaller guard and overpower them, someone that could fly by a taller player because they can't guard him. Like, it's gonna be someone that is really agile, in my opinion, and just like long and lanky. I don't know who that is yet. I haven't really quite figured out who that is. I just think it's gonna be a surprise.
Is Dominique Malunga in the one-on-one?
Good question. I don't know. I would not my bet wouldn't be on her to win, but if that's yours, I'm here for it.
No, I was thinking about her, but I mean, I think Paige is gonna give them a run for their money. I think
Okay.
Paige is just she's at least to me noob here. Okay, I don't study the women's game the way you have,
That's
but
okay.
I love watching her play and she's just so agile and she's just such an incredible shooter. I'm not sure that matters in much in one-on-one because it's probably like hella defense because you're just like literally like just trying to get the ball to like you have one person on your ass the whole time. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be really fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell is gonna be so hard to guard.
Oh,
Mm.
she's so good.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I could come back and report on who I think is gonna win the one-on-one tournament, but I don't
Mm,
have that answer yet.
it's like my dream for Kelsey Mitchell to come to Portland.
Oh my god. I have so many wishes for so many players to come here. Can they just all come here?
I know. I know we're all okay. Last thing I'll just say since we're on the topic of Unrivaled and Stewie's a co-founder of Unrivaled. So she posted on threads like this. I have a secret to tell y'all with like the little eyeballs emoji. And all of the comments were like, we're getting a WNBA season. CBA is done. Like she totally tripped everybody out
Is
with that
she out here
comment.
pranking people on
I
Twitter?
don't know, girl. I shared it in our stories and I was like, way to get us overly
Way
excited.
to get everyone riled up. Like, what's the tea?
Riled, riled up. So we're not going to even talk about CBA today, you guys, because no news yet. We don't really know much still. We're just waiting. But I mean, we are months, weeks away from what's supposed to be tip off, and draft is coming after March Madness. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yes, it is. Stay
Stay
tuned on
tuned.
the CBA.
Stay tuned for the CBA. That should be like that should be our front line. All right, Jack, we're gonna do a little rapid fire before we go to Coach's Corner. You up for
Okay.
it?
Yeah, let's do some rapid
You know
fire.
we
Give it
love
to
some
me.
we love some rapid fire. All right, Jack, you're gonna start, bench, or cut these three sports: women's basketball, women's hockey, and Olympic figure skating.
Okay, we're gonna cut women's figure skating, we're gonna bench women's hockey, and we're gonna start women's basketball. No surprise here.
No surprise there. That would be a really tough one for me, I'm gonna be honest. I love all three of those sports.
I know you do. You're a women's sports lover. Okay, I'll start, bench, cut. Women's sports bars, women's sports only streaming hubs, and legacy networks investing in women's programming. This is such a you question.
I'm gonna start women's sports bars. I'm gonna bench legacy networks investing in women's programming, and I'm going to cut women's sports only streaming hubs. And the only reason I say that is because I think we need wider distribution and we need it across a lot of places to
Love
really
that. Fair.
get the energy and the growth.
Super fair.
All right, Jack, are you going to start, bench, or cut these three things? Brand deals with individual athletes, league-wide sponsorships, or team-specific/market specific activations?
Okay, we're gonna cut team specific, market specific activations. We're gonna bench league wide sponsorships. and we're going to start brand deals with individual athletes. And yeah, like individual athletes deserve it all and they have a brand. They should be celebrated because of their brand and acknowledged by the big brands.
Say less, girl.
Okay. All right, Elle, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You can start, bench, or cut women's hockey, women's figure skating, or women's alpine skiing.
Oh, this is so hard for me because I'm such a all-inclusive women's sports girl.
You are.
I'm gonna start women's hockey because your girl's obsessed right now. I'm gonna bench women's figure skating, and I'm gonna cut women's alpine skiing, but I also love it too.
Love that.
Got to be decisive, you know?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to. Okay, last one, Jack. Are you going to start, bench, or cut these three things? You're going to love this one. Retro jerseys, custom sneakers, or statement jackets?
I'm going to cut retro jerseys. I'm going to start statement jackets and I'm going to bench custom sneakers. I think statement jackets are here. I think they are alive and well. I think they are it. So I'm going to go with a statement jacket.
I could not agree more with that statement.
I knew you'd agree.
Speaking of your very powerful statements and opinions, we are going to pivot into Coach's Corner because it's our favorite section of the whole. We hope you make it with us all the way to the end because the Coach's Corners are so great.
My Coach's Corner is going to be super quick. All I want to say is just because you can push through something doesn't mean you have to. And I think I've really learned this recently in life after sport. And as everyone knows, I'm super um, passionate about fitness. And I think for me, I am learning a balance at this point. I was working out 7 days a week and not giving my body a rest. And I think what I've realized is with that 1 day of rest, let's say it's 2 days per month. Let's say it's once a week. I don't know. Let's say it's 2 to 4 times a month. Okay. Those days give me so much more energy the next day and my body thanks me so much. So all I want to say is everyone who is in their fitness era, however that looks for you, give your body a break, give your mind a break, and give your soul a break for 1 day. You deserve it.
I love that. And I think the takeaway for me goes beyond fitness that we all need rest and recovery. It's
Yeah.
so important whether you're an athlete or you don't identify as an athlete, being able to rest and recover from whatever trauma, whatever anything that your body has gone through that is a lot is super important. So, +1 to that, Jack.
Thanks, girl.
I'm going to end this episode giving a ton of flowers and support to Layla Edwards. As we said earlier in the episode, she just scored her first Olympic goal against Canada today. We're recording on a Tuesday. It was so exciting to sit there and watch her. I'm just so excited to see representation continue to grow in winter sports and across sports holistically, where anybody can have a seat at the table in sports. And it takes these women, these incredibly brave, strong athletes to get up there and represent and really pave the way. And so she had this quote because she gets asked a lot being, there's not very many Black women in winter sports, particularly in ice hockey. So she had this quote and I thought it was really powerful and I wanted to read it out loud. And she said, "I take a lot of pride in it and I'm just going to embrace it because representation matters. No matter how uncomfortable it can be, it's for the next generation." And I think for me, it is, like I said, just so powerful to be in this era where we're so polarized as a people and there's so much negativity. And then you see women like Layla Edwards showing what it looks like to succeed, showing what it looks like to be an incredible athlete, both on the ice and off the ice. So just massive flowers to her.
Yeah, shout out to her. I can't imagine how uncomfortable being in that position could feel like or be. And she's doing it for everyone that comes after her. And that is such a beautiful thing. So shout out to her. She's amazing.
Well, we have a lot. We're going to be talking about Olympics for a while, so get ready. But there's so much to unpack here. It's a really big moment for the world and hopefully a unifying moment for a lot of people. So Jack, I love you. I love showing up on this mic with you every week. We're
So
so
do I,
freaking
even through our busy ass schedules, we
we're
make it
so
work.
you guys, we barely made this episode work this week.
But what I think a lot of this episode told me, it stood for a lot of unity, and that is something that I really appreciated, and I'm glad that we were able to talk about and highlight a lot of the unifying things that have happened lately in our world.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to know that we're not always gonna get everything right, but what Jackie and I stand for is absolutely unity, like you said, and representation and wanting to make sure that we call out the stories that are not being talked about enough,
Yeah.
across especially across the women's sports space. So, we hope you enjoyed the episode. We can't wait to keep chatting with you guys, and Jackie, read us out.
Yeah, I mean, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on all of our channels, which include Instagram, TikTok, and especially YouTube, my friends.
We're up to 21 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh my god, we are creeping up there. That hey, they say the first 10K is the hardest, so we're in that era. We're
That's right,
grinding. We're
girl.
not stopping.
Well, I love you so much. Get some rest, get some relaxation, and we'll see you next week.
See everyone next week. Thanks, everyone.